Welcome to the Game Awards 2025. Now, here's your host, the creator of the Game Awards, Jeff Keighley.
So, the Game Awards 2025 just happened. And honestly, I can't help but feel disappointed once again. I knew the Game Awards was never that great, with all due respect. To be fair, I only wanted to watch for the sake of a few reveals, mainly the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake and Phantom Blade Zero. Now, before anyone says anything, I know I have a section in this video for remakes and remasters, and criticizing how they are constant in this industry. But if the Prince of Persia remake will be anything like Prince of Persia The Lost Crown, then we are in for a real treat. Anyway, despite there being some admittedly good reveals, at least to me this year, I'm going to be straightforward with you. I don't like the Game Awards for many reasons. I just watched the latest 2025 show earlier, and to me it really showcases everything that is wrong with gaming these days, and as to why it's so dead and boring now. After this, I am not going to watch the Game Awards any longer. This is going to be the last time I watch it, and I intend for this to be the first and only time that I'll be talking about it. So I'll be referencing a few things from previous TGA shows as well. FYI, I have nothing against the host/creator, Geoff Keighley. This is just my take on the matter. This video isn't made to insult anyone or cause any kind of commotion, so do not assume it is.
And world premieres like Resident Evil Requiem, Phantom Blade Zero, Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight, and many more.
Already starting the Game Awards, the show makes a fatal mistake. They share games which are going to be shown in TGA. But why did they do this? They did this because they know people would tune out otherwise. But the problem with this is that you just end up waiting to see those particular games being shown and nothing else. But obviously, they saved the best things for last. Or so you would think. One thing I want to mention is how everyone is dressed. Why does everyone look as if they're dressed for either a funeral, wedding, work occasion, or some kind of ceremony? I mean, look at these guys. Everyone here looks like they're dressed to go to work straight after this event. Where's the personality, the flavor, the fun?
What's that?
Fun is when you... Fun is... It's like... It's kinda... Sorta like a... What is fun?
The show is literally about video games, dude. I don't understand the point of the formality of TGA when literally some of the trailers here that are shown are not even suitable for work at times or public viewing. They completely go against formality when some clearly have swearing anyway and stuff. Some people just even swear on stage.
Now I'm here with Joseph Ferris from Hazelight.
Look, the Oscars should themselves up. This is the I'm telling you, this is the real What is this? This is the interactive gaming. Look, I'm just saying this. Let me tell I'm sorry, I'm taking let me just give me a minute. I want to take your time. Look. Okay, can you swear here? Can you swear? Okay. The Oscars, you know? You! I'll tell you! There's like
So it just negates the point of having any kind of formal setting in the first place and just ends up being cringe.
This is the Free Shepherd.
So this is a dedicated game to be revealed at TGA. Whether this game would be great or not is simply out of the question. That's down to personal preference. My question to you is, how can a game like this be shown at one of the biggest gaming events that only happens once a year? I'm not saying the game looks boring or anything. In fact, it certainly has a nice atmosphere and charm to it. There's just no hype with this one, and it's the first game they show too. At least this is all gameplay shown. On top of that, the game is planned to be released in 2027, which comes to my next point. Why would you reveal a game that is scheduled to release much later? People will forget or lose interest by then. Some games are not even going to be released next year. They are planned for release the year after. So it's like, why would you reveal them now, you donuts? People's interest immediately decline if they discover a revealed game is going to be released later than sooner. How do you guys still not get that yet? There was one trailer for this game called Divinity that really eluded my understanding. It looked really gross and not really suitable to be shown for public viewing. I don't feel like watching it again or even showing it here because of how it made me feel. Just I mean, you showed a child here just moments earlier before the trailer, so yeah. Are there children in the audience? I don't know, dude. But in the end, I don't think this is something that should have been shown publicly in an event like this. What's worse is that some revealed games don't even get a release date, but instead are available for play testing.
And now I am excited to share a glimpse into what we've been working on. In fact, we're also inviting all of you to sign up for early playtesting and check it out for yourselves.
What? Are you telling me that you are revealing a product which hasn't even been through the playtesting phase at a game awards show? This is supposed to be one of the biggest gaming events of the year, and they decide to reveal a game that isn't even ready for a full release. Revealing alphas, betas, playtests, or whatever at the biggest game show of the year. Imagine that. So many trailers with no gameplay being displayed. And what's worse is that people are cheering. Yeah, woo, teaser trailer, no gameplay, woo. Yeah, amazing. Even though we can't tell if the game shows any promise yet or anything at all. Nope. Teaser trailer, baby. Am I right? To add to my previous point, how can you guys cheer for this stuff, expecting a good product at all this day and age, with all things considered? Yes, there are some good games that have been released, of course, but overall, the disappointment is severe within this modern age of gaming. People cheering for a teaser trailer. just as people cheered for so many things in the past that have completely ended in disappointment.
We both know why you're here, and that's to talk about the next Fallout. It is 4 times the size of Fallout 4. But there is one big difference with this game. It's that each of those characters is a real person. Because yes, Fallout 76 is entirely online. Okay.
And many players are not thrilled with this game, and they want Bethesda to know that. And they want everyone else to know that too.
Has no one learnt their lesson at all? Has no one learnt anything these past few years?
Celebrate the release of Guild Wars 2's newest expansion, Visions of Eternity.
Just no. Why would you reveal an expansion or DLC pack at a Game Awards show? Especially for a game that was initially released in 2012. Let me say that again. They are revealing an expansion for a game that was released over 10 years ago. Some are even labeled to still be in development.
It's time to reveal a new forceful Void Hunter in Hoyoverse's hit urban fantasy ARPG, Zenless Zone Zero. Meet Ye Shuangguan, the first ever dual-form agent.
Every chosen heir of the Qingming Sword is expected to become a hero. Tread carefully. One step further and you may shed your mortal sins. But the gate to the final domain does not open without refinement. The strongest bond between...
Here are the nominees for the Best Action Game.
Best Action Game.
What? Hold up, dude. Don't get me wrong. These are all action games for sure. But their types and nature are so vastly different from each other. It feels very wrong to group certain games like these together. We have Battlefield 6, a first-person military shooter. Doom: The Dark Ages, a fantasy FPS with an entirely different dynamic and system. Hades 2, an action roguelike, I'm assuming since the first was a roguelike. Ninja Gaiden 4, a full-blown hack-and-slash game. Shinobi Art of Vengeance, another 2D hack-and-slash. I'm once again assuming since I haven't played this one. Only 2 of these games truly are similar. I've never played Shinobi, but I think it's a proper hack and slash. Someone can correct me in the comments. The problem here though is that yes, it is true these are all action games, but these are all so vastly different from each other in terms of the action game experience they are providing. It feels really wrong and unfair to put these games together because now it's less about the games being action games and more so about which games just are more popular, honestly. Now, I'm a huge action game player, so I understand this just isn't right. But, I mean, if they are doing this for this category, then I'm sure they are grouping games together in a way that doesn't make sense for the other categories either. They should have made more categories like Best First-Person Shooter, Best Hack and Slash, Best Roguelike instead, because the way it is now, the lines are too blurred here.
These games remind us how interactive art brings us closer together. Here are the nominees.
Games for Impact.
This is an award for games with some kind of thought-provoking social message. Now, don't get me wrong here. I am all for games that you can learn something from. To be able to learn from something you enjoy is great. However, nowadays, most social lessons tend to be garbage and not exactly food for thought. The term social message in the modern age would mean something along the lines of enforcing some kind of political or activist agenda. Therefore, not really being things meant to open your mind, but to try to persuade or convince you to accept another person's viewpoint or social movement. I thought this award initially meant games with a deep story, but it seems more like it's about games to push some kind of agenda once again. Now, I've not played these games, so honestly it could mean nothing, and these could actually be good games, with good meanings or lessons within them, but one can never be too careful nowadays. In any case, to have an award for games that have a pro-social message seems very off to me.
And in that spirit, it's now time for our next award, Innovation in Accessibility.
Bro, why is this even an award? Don't get me wrong. Having accessibility options is important so that everyone or as many people get the chance to experience something. But this shouldn't be an award. This should be the standard. Part of the bare minimum. Something that should be naturally implemented. I mean, bro, come on now. You know something is wrong when Assassin's Creed Shadows of all games gets nominated for something in a Game Awards show.
Now, the nominees for Most Anticipated Game.
Honestly, there shouldn't be an award just for a game people could be looking forward to. The game could still end up being a huge disappointment at the end. I mean, look at Cyberpunk 2077 as a recent example.
It's 9:30, guys. We can talk about Cyberpunk 2077. So, first off, wow. I'm still kind of recovering from the experience of playing the game yesterday, but I have to say I was absolutely blown away with the experience. It felt so fresh and unique and different. The world and the characters, it is just dripping with ambiance and intrigue, and I already miss this world. And I have to say, CDPR has done such an amazing job bringing it to life. I mean, the detail in the art and every character you meet, you want to like look at their costumes and their tattoos, and the voice work is so incredible. And it really has the same vibe as like a GTA open world, but in this cool, rich new setting, obviously in first-person perspective. It's really an incredible experience, and I was truly blown away by the scale and scope of what CDPR is doing.
They were going on and on about how they'd create this vast open world with a branching storyline. The feeling of being there, of walking the streets of the future, is really going to be breathtaking.
They really know what they're doing.
All of it looks absolutely next level.
Cyberpunk 2077 is one of the most anticipated games coming out next year.
One of the most anticipated games coming out next year.
All right. Check this out.
It's 9:30, guys. Talk about Cyberpunk 2077. So, first off, wow. I'm still kind of recovering from the experience of playing the game yesterday, but I have to say, I was absolutely blown away with the experience. It felt so fresh and unique and different. The world and the characters is just dripping with ambiance and intrigue, and I already miss this world. And I have to say, CDPR has done such an amazing job bringing it to life. I mean, the detail in the art, and every character you meet, you want to like look at their costumes and their tattoos, and the voice work is so incredible. And it really has the same vibe as like a GTA open world, but in this cool, rich new setting, obviously in first-person perspective.
Everyone was looking forward to that. Came out terrible.
And now I have another award. These nominees are games that never leave you because they're on your phone. Here are the nominees for Best Mobile Game.
Besides the award for Best Ongoing Game and other similar awards, how are they nominating games in certain categories that were revealed before this year? It doesn't make any sense. Wuthering Waves was released on Windows, Android, and iOS devices in May 2024. So why is it nominated for the Best Mobile Game Award in 2025? TGA should be focusing on games that came out the same year, not on games that came out the years before. If TGA are including games that were released in earlier years, then old games would be taking all the awards honestly, if the logic is consistent, since old games are far superior than many games in today's day and age in terms of gameplay.
But for now, it's time for our 3 esports awards.
Listen, dude, I don't care what anyone says about this, but people need to suck it up and accept the truth. Playing video games is not a sport, it's an activity. This can be its own video, so I won't go into further depth here since this video is more so about TGA and not esports. I don't care if certain games are more difficult than others. Yes, some games require more skill than others, and yes, some techniques and performances in games require extreme precision and skill with execution, but that doesn't make it a sport, for God's sake.
The nominees for Best Esports Athlete are...
Oh, for crying out. Well, they still continue. Lara Croft gets another. I'll be honest though, I am looking forward to it, and want to get it myself because the only Tomb Raider game I've ever played has been the 2013 game, not the originals, so that would be nice to experience. And even earlier I mentioned that one of the reasons I was watching this show was due to the hopes that the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake release date may be announced. To be honest, there weren't many remasters or remakes during this show, which is good. But even then still, another day, another remaster.
Please welcome actress, writer, and gaming creator, Felicia Day.
Hi, friends. I am thrilled to be here tonight to present the TGA Game Changer Award, an award that recognizes an individual or organization that has demonstrated positive social progress in the gaming industry. And I'm even more thrilled that tonight's honoree is one of the most impactful organizations uplifting girls today, and one that I'm honored to represent as an ambassador, Girls Make Games.
Okay, this has just gone on long enough now. This entire narrative of wanting to give girls more opportunities in the name of fairness and equality is just plain stupid at this point. Girls make games. So what? Were they not able to make games before or something? Now, I could just be misinterpreting this, and in the end, this could just be a nice opportunity for younger girls to gain experience and become game developers. I get it. The problem here, though, is that they reserved a whole section of the show for this. Once again, and I could be wrong here, it seems as if they are pushing that feminist narrative, as if they've been constantly oppressed and unable to have these kinds of working opportunities and yada yada. The fact that there is a dedicated section for this TGA Game Changer Award is just stupid. An award given for social progress? This is meant to be a video game award show, not an award show for social progress. Plus, why else would they be showing this without wanting to push a certain agenda? An agenda we hear time and time again in the gaming industry, within gaming companies, news outlets, and even within the games themselves. Now they've done this too. They've already gone way too far, but now this is just ridiculous.
I'm thrilled to be here tonight to present the TGA Game Changer Award, an award that recognizes an individual or organization that has demonstrated positive social progress in the gaming industry.
Listen, man, don't get me wrong. I wish the best for these girls. I want the best for their futures, for sure. And all the more power to them, but this just does not seem right at all. Plus, it's not what we came here for.
All right, we have many more game announcements to come. Going to be hard to top that one, but right now we have a very special guest I'd like to bring out. Please welcome Miss Piggy.
How many times have they included these guys now? I am losing track, but they keep doing this and it's getting tiring. Do it once or at least keep it a surprise or unpredictable, but it just gets boring after seeing it over and over and over and over and over again. Use it sparingly. I guess it's symbolic because it reminds me of how game devs use the same formula over and over too. Souls games, Battle Royale, hero shooters, always doing the same thing over and over.
And now I hope everyone is suited up and reloaded because our next award is for Best Fighting Game. Here are the nominees.
So, there was an award for Best Fighting Game in 2022, and Sifu was nominated. I love Sifu, but how do they get these categories wrong in the biggest game awards show? Unbelievable. Yes, Sifu has fighting in it, but it's a beat 'em up in nature. and not a traditional 1v1 fighting game like the other games that were presented in this category. This has got to be one of the worst moments I've ever experienced in viewing TGA. This speech went on for what felt like forever as I was watching it. We came here to watch an awards show, not to listen to this. This was wrong, man. Absolutely wrong. What's baffling to me is how they allowed Christopher Judge to even be able to do this.
But now it's time to honor another game studio with an award. And it's one of my favorite categories, Best Independent Game. And the Game Award goes to Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
Jennifer English! All right, here are the nominees for Best Art Direction. And the Game Award goes to Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Now the nominees for Best Debut Indie Game. Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
And the Game Award goes to Laureat Testard.
Best Role-Playing Game. Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
And the Game Award goes to Expedition 33.
And the Game of the Year is mon ami Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
The sweep is crazy. And as much as I am happy for these guys to a certain degree, it just makes me wonder. They won so many. I haven't played the game, so I can't really speak much on this topic, but this just ends up becoming a running gag for the show, honestly. If you think this means anything, then let me just remind you, The Last of Us Part 2 won 7 awards in TGA 2020, including Game of the Year. And for Game of the Year, that game was up against Doom Eternal, Hades, Ghost of Tsushima, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and Animal Crossing. How did The Last of Us Part 2 manage to beat these games?
Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
I will have to read. Sorry.
I would like to say something.
Wow, there are a lot of people here.
Wow. Hello. Yeah, this is quite intimidating. Wow. Yeah.
Who prepares a speech for awards they were nominated for if they didn't know they would win? Doesn't add up to me, just saying.
You know, sometimes our last reveal at the Game Awards is a teaser for something years and years away. But not tonight. Our final world premiere comes from 61 members of the team that built Apex Legends and Titanfall. 4 years ago, the principals founded a new independent studio with the hopes of pushing the shooter genre forward with a new original game. They've done it in complete secrecy, which is even more amazing because the game is very deep into development. The power of independent, self-published studios to push this medium forward is a growing and I think positive theme in our industry. And so tonight, you're not only going to get the announcement of the game, but also your first look at the gameplay. I've played it, and after you see this trailer, I think you're going to want to as well. Welcome to Highguard.
You'd expect the final reveal to be the best reveal of the show, right? Wrong. The final reveal was made by the same guys who made Titanfall and Apex Legends. I was hoping for Titanfall 3, but nope. The final reveal was a free-to-play hero shooter like Valorant and Overwatch. It's over, dude. Expect gun skins that cost £100, tons of loot boxes, and microtransactions. Now I want to bring up something important that happened back during TGA 2022. This was the same year that Stray was released, and I want to bring this up to explain some important points and also as to why TGA is just ridiculous once again. So in TGA 2022, Stray was nominated for so many awards, and I'm completely baffled as to how it was even possible. For those of you who are unaware, Stray is an indie platforming adventure game where you play as a cat. It is the most simplistic platformer you can think of, really. Now that's completely fine, by the way. I can understand that can be the charm and appeal of the game, other than the fact you are able to play as a cat, obviously, because everyone considers that as cute or whatever. But anyway, for a game as simple as Stray, that game was nominated for so many awards against other titles that clearly surpass Stray in pretty much every single regard. It was indefensible. The awards this game was nominated for were Best Action Adventure Game, Best Debut Indie Game, Best Indie Game, Best Art Direction, Best Game Direction. It was even nominated to be a contender for Game of the Year. Best Action Adventure Game. Now I watched this game, and a good chunk of it. I did not play the game because the game looks very boring to me and not worth it. The game is so simple. You are a cat that fell down a hole and you're trying to make your way back out to daylight again. That is it. It's so simple, with the most simple and basic platforming I've ever seen. It has little to no replayability or anything. So many games have far superior platforming to this game. The game is only around 3 hours long too. The story and premise is very simplistic as well. And this game was nominated for this category against God of War Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West. Are you serious? This game is nowhere near that kind of caliber. Best Debut Indie Game. To be honest, this shouldn't even be an award. An award for a game's first public appearance. Once again, a silly thing to give an award for. It actually won this award too. Best Indie Game. Stray won this award too. Have you seen the gameplay of this game? And it was up against Sifu. I don't know enough about the other games nominated in this category, but Sifu far surpasses Stray in almost every regard, if not every regard. Sifu has a more interesting story, great combat, incredible gameplay depth, good progression, exceptional visuals, amazing characters, Superb art design, way more content, lots of replayability, great music, and more. How did Stray win against Sifu? Stray has little to no replayability, one game mode, no meaningful side content, extremely linear game design, such simplistic platforming that hundreds of platformers have already surpassed in the past. Simplistic story, very short campaign, very straightforward gameplay with no depth whatsoever. The art style is even similar to Sifu, if not the same. What you are seeing right now on screen is Stray gameplay. What you see is basically the entire game. I'm not joking. This is literally it throughout the whole 3 hours or so that this game goes on for, with a few chase sequences, very simplistic puzzles, and stealth moments in between. See for yourself, but these are so short, far, and few in between. Best art direction. I already explained this earlier, so skip. Best game direction against Elden Ring. It's not even close, dude. Nowhere near. This game even got nominated for Game of the Year that year. Are you serious? Bro, there are so many platformers that surpass Stray in every single way. Platformers from the 2000s, back during the PS2 era. Stray can't even compete with those games. Yet Stray is here competing for Game of the Year against Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West. These games far surpass Stray in every single way. Dude, if Stray gets nominated for Game of the Year in 2022, then Ratchet & Clank 1, Sly 2, and Jak and Daxter should be considered games of the century and win Game of the Year every single year until 2023, because those games far surpass anything that Stray does, and does far more than that too. It makes no sense. This game is so popular, which is fine. But the only reason it is so popular is not because of the game itself, but because you can play as a cat. That's it. Let's be honest here. But for some reason, that alone warrants the game to be nominated for so many awards against games that far surpass it. I'm not saying the game is bad, but it just doesn't deserve this pedestal it was given. It was a simple platformer. Let's look at another thing quickly. This game has got overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam, but how many people have actually finished it? Here is the achievement for finishing the game. According to Steam achievements, less than 40% of people who owned this game even finished the game. So this game is received so positively and was loved so much to the point that over 60% of you guys who bought it couldn't even be bothered to finish it. You couldn't finish a game that is literally just 3 hours long. And this was nominated for Game of the Year. Wow. Just wow. If this game got so much popularity and praise for just playing as a cat, then how much do you want to bet that in 2027, The Last Shepherd will be nominated for so many awards just because you get to play as a dog?
Okay, I'll say it. The protagonist is not only powerful, but I'm proud to also confirm it is adorable.
You know, I want to dedicate a certain segment to this dude, because there's a reason why everyone mentioned this guy. So much, even to the point where they decided to mention his reappearance in the pre-show.
And the Game Awards Orchestra, conducted by Lauren Bouth, will pay tribute to our 6 Game of the Year nominees. And rest easy, I'm able to confirm Flute Guy will be back.
There's a reason why everyone goes crazy for Flute Guy. And do you know what that is? It's his passion. When you watch him, he clearly shows his love, passion, and enjoyment for what he's doing. That's why we love this guy. He looks happy. Everyone else just does not. Gaming has become an industry, and most industries are boring and bland. Everyone at a workplace wears a mask, covering themselves and their true identity, and that sadly includes the gaming space now. No one can be themselves anymore. Flute Guy is the only one that stands out from that in TGA. He doesn't wear a mask. He is being himself, and we love that. Apparently, he even made a flute by hand, specifically for this event. That screams passion. Once again, so many things we see time and time again, just shown constantly within modern gaming. Unfinished games, games that won't come out until much later, cinematics and no gameplay, pushing agendas, people blurring the lines between game genres, games getting awards and nominations that are undeserved, being praised for things which should be basic standards and requirements, lack of passion and personality, no fun, just corporate nonsense, people not even understanding what categories are what, cringe and boredom, things being rigged from the start, calling video gaming a sport, considering professional gamers as athletes, placing focus on things which they shouldn't, getting carried. Remakes and remasters. Probably delays too, many delays. Disappointing reveals and showcases, time wasting, hyping up DLCs and expansions, gacha games, deception, being irresponsible and or blaming others, people being naive and gullible, revealing things which aren't suitable for public viewing, people accepting trash, games with subtle unnecessary messages or meanings, everyone copying each other, and probably more, but I'm done.
Okay, if that doesn't get you hyped for the main show, then maybe you're the problem.
Yeah, I don't think so.
May the peaceful one be with you. I am the Stylesman, and if you enjoyed what you've seen, then please support me by subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing this with as many people as you can. The more support that you guys give me, the more you will get out in return. So please check all the socials and links in the description. Rest assured that your support in me will not be misplaced. Thank you, and may you be at peace.